Media reports say that China's setting to clamp down on capital controls, especially Chinese companies seeking to invest overseas. Then we heard about this Kate Blanchett story in Australia where her real estate deal went through fell through because the buyer, mainland Chinese real estate investor, couldn't get money out of China to pay her for her home. I mean, why is capital control restrictions getting stricter here?
The central bank has been pretty much vigilant to the capital outflow pressure that will push the RMB exchange rate to the weaker side. So they have been trying to do whatever they can to slow down the pace of the capital outflow because of the changing expectation about the future value of the local currency. Be it the public purchase outside, in other countries, portfolio outflow through the QDII scheme, and even with some of the suspect non-genuine buying of foreign exchange in the local market, everything that they can do to reduce the amount of capital outflow away from the country. I think it's more about the managed expectation about the future value of the currency.
One of the other things it seems to speak to is the fact that mainland investors don't see viable alternatives to invest in. I mean, whether it's the equity market in China or real estate, we talk about how hated the real estate market is in China. We had a story earlier about the PBOC denying some reports that it's ordered commercial banks to cut back on mortgage lending. I mean, where do you see asset prices, whether they be stocks or real estate, where do you see asset prices in China, and do you think they're extremely valued right now as a whole?
I think those short-term measures, including banning the purchase of the second home buyer, and also asking banks to be tightening the credit to mortgage, and everything that they have done can only be regarded as short-term recipe. The long-term solution is to address the oversupply of money. It's too much money, and the investment, it's a lack of investment targets by the local residents. Either they can buy properties in the local market or they go overseas. So the whole property frenzy seems to me the root cause of this is the excessive credit and excessive amount of money and money supply in the global banking sector. So what the government or even the central banks need to do is to start to think about tightening, not in the form of rising costs of funding, but at the same time try to limit the credit available to the market. I think this the tightening of the mortgage credit is only the first things that they need to do, and in the end they have to think about an overall tightening and the taper the amount of the balance sheet expanded by the PBOC.
Raymond, quickly, do you think that is causing a rotation of investors into Chinese stocks?
I think there's this improvement in sentiment. It seems that the stock market has improved as well, and alongside the global improvement of the equities market. So the Chinese stock market is not alone, and has been pretty much stabilized in the past few months after the circuit breakers riot at the beginning of the year, and the investor sentiment seems to have improved. But we have to think about the long-term fundamental, whether the stocks is valuable or not. So I think that in the end, a rational investor, we need to think about it again.
Well, thank you so much for your guidance this morning. Raymond Young, Chief Economist, ANZ Banking Group, live for us in Hong Kong. Coming up here on Bloomberg Daybreak Asia, we talk about President-elect Trump's pick